And Cantrell, he's scratching walls up in Ulster County mental, which means you pick two guys we can't check on. Put your money back.
You guys want my money?
You got one chance. And I'm gonna give it to you in a few seconds.
The out of here, you this guy. You waste my time again.
Don't touch me. Hey,
I say get them. Stupid.
All right? Yo, freeze! I can see him, NYPD. Chill the out. You two mother.
Wired.
With a single instinctive movement, the man realizes his life is in danger. Someone is coming to kill him. He quickly scans the room, stuffing books under his shirt for protection and wrapping socks around his hands, preparing for a fight. Before he can find a weapon, an assassin attacks from behind, using his size to slam him to the ground. But this man is no ordinary prisoner. Trained as a special forces soldier, he reacts instantly, turning the fight around and killing the attacker with his bare hands. He drags the body into the main hall, deliberately drawing attention. When the guards rush in, he seizes the moment, overpowering one of them and taking him hostage. Using the guard as leverage,
Yeah, I'm gonna run this in the fucking brain. Back the up.
Stupid now.
Get the
he forces his way up to a storage room on the roof. Once there, he knocks the guard unconscious and studies the area outside, carefully observing the surrounding buildings and sightlines. Relying on his elite military training, he calculates the perfect sniper angle. Just as expected, a SWAT team arrives. He switches clothes with the unconscious guard, staging the scene so it appears the guard is holding him hostage. Then, wakes the man at the last possible second.
Hostage clear.
You're clear hot.
A single sniper shot ends it instantly. The bullet kills the guard, punctures the propane tank, and triggers a massive explosion. Hidden beneath the floorboards, the man narrowly survives. To everyone else, it looks like he's dead. Everyone believes the escapee is gone, except for one officer. She notices a distinctive tattoo and grows suspicious. She follows his body into the ambulance. Without saying a word, she places a handgun beside him. Understanding her message, he takes control of the vehicle and finally escapes, while she watches him disappear, conflicted but silent. The man's name is Pete Koslow, a highly decorated former Special Forces soldier. Once, he lived a peaceful life with his wife and young daughter. That life shattered 5 years earlier when a violent confrontation with local thugs spiraled out of control. While protecting his family, Pete accidentally killed one of the attackers and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. 4 years into his sentence, the FBI approaches him with an offer he can't refuse. If he agrees to go undercover inside one of New York's most dangerous drug organizations,
we go along with the general's plan, and if that happens, you're a free man.
his sentence will be reduced, and he'll be granted early parole. The mission targets a powerful Polish crime syndicate, led by a ruthless commander known as General Klimek. With covert FBI backing, Pete infiltrates the organization, earns trust, and steadily rises through the ranks. Now, a massive shipment of 6 kilograms of fentanyl is scheduled to arrive in New York under the General's direct command. If the delivery goes through, the FBI will have enough evidence to take the entire operation down and finally extract Pete from his undercover role.
Richard Klimek. His gang, known as Wojtek, is one of the major importers and distributors of fentanyl. We're going after him.
As the operation approaches its climax, Pete moves his family into a secure safe house.
You don't open the door to anyone. And if I'm not back here by 1 p.m., baby, okay?
He gives his wife strict instructions and a key, making it clear that if he doesn't return by the following afternoon, she must leave immediately with their daughter. Meanwhile, FBI agent Erica works through the night, coordinating with her superiors and locking in the final details of the takedown. She and Pete meet in secret and make one last dangerous decision. Pete will wear a real-time wire with a continuous transmission. The recording will do more than capture evidence. It will serve as undeniable proof of his identity, his mission, and the truth, no matter how the operation ends. The recording is set up as a legally authorized, consensual meeting between a confidential FBI informant and 2 senior figures within the Polish crime syndicate. The next day, Pete arrives at the airport with the general's nephew, Staszek, to collect the shipment. To his surprise, the courier turns out to be connected to the Polish consulate, openly exploiting diplomatic immunity to transport fentanyl without inspection. It's a bold and calculated move that shields the drugs from law enforcement. After securing the shipment, Pete quietly reroutes the contraband, while FBI agents follow from a safe distance. But the plan quickly starts to unravel. Driven by ambition and desperate to impress his uncle,
Wait. What do you mean you gotta buy it?
I checked. He's good.
Stashek secretly contacts a buyer, planning to sell the entire 6-kilogram shipment immediately. This creates a serious problem. If the drugs change hands too soon, the FBI loses its only chance to catch the general directly involved. With no better option, Pete is sent to meet the buyer at a bar controlled by the Polish gang. During the meeting, the buyer claims to share a criminal past with Pete, even mentioning time spent in the same prison. At first, the story seems convincing, but cracks quickly appear. The man talks like a small-time thug, yet he's willing to purchase a massive quantity of drugs without hesitation. When he mentions people Pete knows couldn't possibly be involved, the truth becomes clear. The buyer is an undercover police officer, and the entire deal has been compromised. When Stashek briefly steps away, Pete quietly warns the officer that his cover has been blown, and that staying any longer will get him killed. To maintain appearances, Pete stages a confrontation, making it look like the deal has collapsed. But the situation spirals out of control when the officer panics and exposes himself. Stashek returns at the worst possible moment,
Hands where I can see him, NYPD!
and without hesitation, kills the undercover cop. In an instant, everything changes. A police officer has been murdered, guaranteeing an aggressive NYPD investigation. Pete sends the agreed-upon extraction signal, but Erica immediately aborts the mission. With a cop dead, the operation is no longer salvageable. The FBI pulls all surveillance units, leaving Pete completely exposed.
Call off rescue, let's make car disappear.
So it's 2 minutes away.
A cop just got killed.
With no escape, he's forced to help Stashek deal with the aftermath and stay close to him. Erica's decision isn't personal, it's damage control. If the FBI's role is uncovered, the consequences would be devastating. Pete is taken straight to the general's headquarters, where the tension is overwhelming. The general is furious. An undercover officer is dead. Public attention is inevitable, and the entire operation is now on the brink of collapse.
Do you know what that means, Piotr? They will shut down all illegal activities until they find their cop killer.
The general understands the consequences immediately. With a police officer murdered, law enforcement will shut down every illegal operation until the killer is found. While Stashek is family and receives only a symbolic punishment,
NYPD will come for you. The best drug runner in Wojtek.
Pete is not afforded the same protection. Stashek has no official identity records, making him nearly invisible to authorities. But Pete is well known. Once the NYPD starts digging, they will find him. To protect the organization, the general gives Pete a new assignment. He orders him to return to prison. From inside, Pete will expand the syndicate's influence by turning the prison system into a new distribution hub, controlling the flow of narcotics across facilities throughout New York. Pete is horrified by the idea. He has sacrificed everything to escape prison once already, but the general leaves him no room to refuse. Pete's wife and daughter are already under the syndicate's control.
Sofia and Anna will be okay while you're inside.
Consumed by rage and fear, Pete returns home and desperately reaches out to Erica, hoping for help. Instead, she confronts him about the failed operation and makes it clear that the situation is spiraling out of control. The call ends abruptly, leaving Pete feeling abandoned. The pressure finally breaks him. Overwhelmed and panicked, Pete lashes out at his wife, furious that she didn't flee when she had the chance. Through tears, she explains that she stayed because she feared for his life, hoping he would return safely. With no alternatives left, Pete agrees to another meeting with Erica, this time with her superior present. The Bureau's position is clear. They want to cut ties. Pete is now connected to the death of a police officer, and the drugs he transported passed through diplomatic channels, creating the risk of an international scandal. Still, Erica refuses to let everything fall apart. She proposes a final, dangerous option. Pete will go along with the general's plan.
We go along with the general's plan. Evidence of fentanyl being methodically distributed inside a state prison buries Richard Klimek for good.
And return to prison. If he can gather solid evidence showing fentanyl being systematically distributed inside a state facility, it would be enough to permanently destroy the general's operation. In exchange, Pete would finally earn his freedom. The warning is blunt. If Pete refuses, he will serve the remainder of his sentence and face additional charges from the NYPD. Either way, his life is in danger. With no protection promised if things go wrong, Pete understands that betrayal is inevitable. That's why he secretly records every meeting with the FBI. Meanwhile, the body of the undercover officer is discovered near a riverbank. NYPD Detective Edward Gren is devastated. What was meant to be a routine introduction to fieldwork for a young officer turned into a fatal mistake. Driven by guilt and anger, Gren reviews surveillance footage near the bar controlled by the Polish gang. He spots Pete leaving the building around the time of the murder. Digging into Pete's records, Gren notices something disturbing. Pete was sentenced to 20 years at Bale Hill Prison, yet he walked free after only 4, and the details explaining why are missing. The file has clearly been altered.
Well, the file looks like it's been redacted.
A jacket like that.
Pete's return to prison is now unavoidable. With only a short time left as a free man, his thoughts are consumed by his family. On the eve of his incarceration, he meets with Erica one last time, laying out a series of demands to ensure his survival inside. He needs a staged drug sweep upon arrival to cover his activities, an assignment in logistics to give him mobility and access, and, most controversially, Erica herself must smuggle in a small shipment of drugs disguised in a bouquet of flowers.
You know, if the prosecutor finds out that I help people get high, he'll destroy me, you, and the case.
The first 2 requests are difficult but feasible. The third, however, is far beyond her limits. Pete leaves frustrated and furious, knowing he has no leverage. Returning home, Pete is confronted with the grim reality of the mob's power. The general, accompanied by his wife, greets him in the living room, a tradition in Polish organized crime. It is a ritual of respect, but also a warning. By visiting the family personally, the organization sends a message. Comply, serve your time, stay silent, and your family remains safe. Unbeknownst to Pete, Detective Edward Gren remains hot on his trail. Watching from a distance, Gren witnesses the general's visit, solidifying his suspicion. Pete is directly connected to the murdered officer, and the Polish mafia is at the heart of the operation. The next day, Pete and his wife stage a fake domestic dispute.
He wants to kill me! Please send someone fast!
Their plan works flawlessly. Pete is arrested for violating his parole and sent back to Bale Hill Prison. This sudden move frustrates Gren, who now faces the challenge of investigating a key suspect behind bars. Determined to uncover the truth, Gren confronts Erica and her superior, Montgomery. He presses them for answers.
Same prison he was serving 20 years for murder before somebody pulled him out pending the investigation of new evidence.
Seeking clarity about Pete's apparent connections to the FBI. Both agents deny any formal ties, confirming Gren's suspicion that Pete is part of an off-the-books operation. Gren lays out the evidence, surveillance photos, including one showing Erica's vehicle near Pete at the bar shortly after the undercover officer was killed. His warning is pointed.
This picture may be hard to read. That person looks very much like you, Agent Wilcox. Driving away from the crime scene.
Any further obstruction risks pitting the NYPD against federal agents in a dangerous showdown. Still digging, Gren approaches Pete's wife, Sofia, hoping to gain insight into his behavior. He tries to reason with her, arguing that if Pete is working with the FBI, the murder of a police officer makes no sense. But Sofia has endured too much betrayal. Years of manipulation and danger have left her distrustful of everyone. She refuses to cooperate, leaving Gren with no choice but to leave quietly. Back at Bale Hill, Pete is processed into the prison system once again. The head correctional officer, Slew, who holds a personal grudge, deliberately assigns him to a cell block controlled by the notoriously brutal black gang. It is a dangerous setup, designed to test him. Fortunately, the general's influence extends even here. Through bribes and back channels, the Polish mob intervenes. 2 of their enforcers are transferred into Pete's wing to watch his back. Even so, the message from Slew is clear. Survival inside this prison will not come easily. The very next day, the system begins working in Pete's favor. The prison warden follows through on the arranged plan. A sudden drug sweep is carried out, and Pete is reassigned to the maintenance crew. Fentanyl is hidden inside the bodies of dead pigeons and dropped onto the prison roof using a drone. The following morning, while cleaning the rooftop, Pete discreetly retrieves one of the carcasses, now packed with narcotics. Inside the prison, the drug trade has long been controlled by the black gang, but the recent crackdown has temporarily cut off their supply. Pete recognizes the opening and moves fast. He begins distributing drugs aggressively throughout the prison, deliberately bypassing the corrupt guards who normally demand a cut. On the outside, Detective Gren grows desperate for answers in the murdered officer's case.
In a few hours, you're gonna be alone on this yard. It'll be the scariest moment of your life. You ready to talk about Officer Gomez's murder? Tell Vermin to call the hangman.
Seeing Pete as the key, he manipulates rival gangs inside the prison to pressure him into talking. The plan works. That night, the punishment comes. Officer Slew drags Pete into the prison chapel and beats him mercilessly.
That's for not respecting the system!
With the baton, punishing him for breaking the established chain of command. When the beating ends, Pete is left bloodied, hanging, and barely conscious, as plans are made to stage his death.
I'm here to take out this room. I need this Bale Hill distribution chain.
As a suicide, but Pete refuses to die quietly. Desperate and running out of time, he reveals everything to Smiley, the leader of the Black Gang, his true identity, his mission, and his role as an FBI informant, working to take down the Polish syndicate.
You give me that list, I'll bury that Polish cocksucker.
Smiley listens carefully. If Pete is telling the truth, removing the Polish mafia would give the Black Gang full control over the prison's drug trade. A deal is struck. Outside the prison, the situation turns even darker. Gren confronts federal authorities. To protect himself, Agent Montgomery makes a ruthless decision. He orders Erica to burn Pete and erase the operation entirely, rewriting the story to place the blame squarely on her.
I didn't know anything about this operation. We'll make an example of you. You will serve jail time, I guarantee it.
Back inside, Pete secures the distribution list and discreetly passes it to the warden during a routine exchange, requesting immediate protective isolation. But the warden, already instructed to abandon him, coldly ignores the plea. The realization hits instantly. Pete has been left exposed.
You leave me out here, I'm dead, man.
I'm sorry, Pete. They were very clear.
Knowing that his cover is blown and his family is now in danger, Pete reaches out to Erica one last time. She listens in silence, then disconnects the call. There will be no rescue. With nowhere else to turn, Pete finally calls Sofia. His voice is calm, but the message is clear. The situation has become critical.
I'm not getting out of this.
And time is running out. Thinking fast, Sofia reaches out to Detective Gren, giving Pete a final sliver of hope. Pete tells her to use the key he gave her before returning to prison to open a storage unit. Inside are audio recordings of his meetings with Erica, proof of everything. Those tapes are the last leverage Pete has left. While Pete struggles to stay alive behind bars, the FBI moves forward with a plan to erase him completely. Under pressure, Erica approaches the general's lawyer and reveals Pete's identity as an FBI informant. The information spreads quickly. Inside the prison, the Polish crew receives a direct kill order. At the same time, Erica, who has been secretly monitoring Sofia, follows her to the storage unit and seizes the recordings first. As she listens, she hears her own voice, promising to protect her.
I was always close by, Pete. I was never gonna let anything happen to you.
Pete's wife and daughter. The weight of guilt hits hard. She realizes how far things have gone. Inside the prison, a Polish assassin moves in. Pete manages to neutralize the immediate threat using his elite military training, but he knows survival inside is no longer possible. If he wants to live and clear his name, he has to escape. He takes a guard hostage and begins executing a carefully planned prison break, unaware that Montgomery is nearby, waiting for the right moment to have him killed. What Pete doesn't know is that the danger has already reached his family. Stashek storms into the house with another enforcer, holding Sofia and her daughter at gunpoint. Gasoline is poured everywhere. The plan is to erase the entire family. Just moments before it's too late, Gren arrives. In the chaos, Stashek uses the child as a shield and shoots Gren, but Sofia fights back. In a final struggle, Gren rises and kills Stashek, saving Pete's family. Back at the prison, Montgomery believes the timing is perfect. A sniper is in position.
I have a clean shot. Hostage clear.
You're clear hot.
An explosion rocks the facility, and it appears Pete has finally been eliminated. Erica arrives moments later and is told the job is done, but as paramedics wheel out a survivor, she notices a familiar tattoo. Pete is alive. Overcome with guilt, Erica makes a choice. Without drawing attention, she slips her weapon to Pete. He understands immediately. Amid the confusion, he fires a warning shot, disables the vehicle, and escapes once again. Days later, Erica meets Montgomery and deliberately feeds him false information about Pete's location. Confident and careless, Montgomery admits to orchestrating Pete's attempted execution.
You need to fix this. No one can save you from the Gomez investigation while Koslow is alive.
He doesn't realize is that Erica is wearing a wire. Federal agents move in and arrest him on the spot.
Don't it just warm your heart to see the FBI and the NYPD finally cooperate?
Finally exposing the corruption within the Bureau. Weeks later, Pete secretly returns to the city to meet his family, but he senses something is wrong. FBI agents are everywhere. As he turns to leave, Gren steps in and stops him, not to arrest him, but to help. He hands Pete a new passport and identity.
We need you to lay low for another month till it gets all worked out with the corrupt prison investigation the FBI is conducting. She promises you're gonna see your family soon.
Explaining that Pete needs to disappear for a little longer while the investigation continues. From a distance, Pete watches his wife and daughter fade into the crowd. He can't join them yet, but for the first time, they're safe. And for now, that's enough.